Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the March 20th, 2024 City of Fitchburg Police and Fire Commission. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we do have a quorum, but unfortunately, Commissioner O'Day is virtual, so we will not be able to go into closed session for, so our agenda, we're going to kind of propose to move a couple things around and delay it till the next meeting. But agenda item number 3, we will do the approval of minutes. Does anybody have any questions from the February 28th meeting?
No, I'll move to approve. They look accurate to me.
All right.
Second.
All right. No questions. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? No. All right. So the approval of the February 28th meeting minutes pass. Number 4 agenda is public appearance for non-agenda items. I do not see anybody here. And I'm going to make a motion that we switch 5 and 6 agenda items. We're going to bump up the police department if there's no discussion or concerns. We'll move number 6 to number 5 and 5 to 6. So, Chief, we'll start with you with police department, the staffing report. I have to make a motion to move the agenda items? Okay.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
All right. Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. All right. Thank you.
Okay, for staffing report, we're making some progress. We're currently down 5 vacant positions, although we did get a notification of 1 officer who's going to the state patrol, so that'll get us to 6. So, but that's not official till the end of the month. We have currently filled out of 55 sworn. We're at 50. We have 3 on field training, 5 at the Law Enforcement Academy, 2 on from patrol on restrictive duty, and 1 captain on restricted duty. So overall, with patrol level unfilled positions, we're at 16. I can tell you that out of that, there's some numbers in the hiring. We have some that are going to be coming up in the near future for conditional offers. I'll present that to you in the upcoming weeks. I can tell you that we're making progress on our female staffing, which is a very good number. We're currently at 9. Conditional offers that may be coming forward are going to be 2 additional. So with that staffing, right now we're currently at 18% female. We'll be over 20% if those make it through the PFC and our background checks, and they will be starting at the end of spring, early summer. We do have another process that's coming within the next couple of weeks as well, and we'll see what we get from there. So I'm hoping that by midsummer we're close to full staffing. I want to knock on wood for that one. Good progress, but again, we have a referendum coming, which will bring us back in the hole if that does go. But it's still positive. So currently vacancies, we're at approximately, I would say, this one's not correct, just between 18% vacancy right now. Let's see, for our overtime report. Because of some of the unfilled positions, I can't give you the comparison, but in 2024, February, we had a overall shift coverage of 19 events for the month of February that led to order ins, we had 42. So what does that give us in numbers? Shift coverage was 66.25 hours, and order in overtime in hours was 162. Actually 163 hours of overtime spent. Any questions on that?
No, I'll just make a comment real quick, and just so everybody understands, the national average for females on a typical fire department or police department is 12%. Is that correct? Is that
Yes.
fair?
Yes,
and
that's
we are currently at 18%.
Correct. We're currently at 18% and trending to go over 20%.
And I think that's great. I know there's an initiative, the 30 by 30.
Yes.
That I hope, I know that's a goal to meet, and so thank you. That's a great update to hear.
Great.
Thank you.
We're excited, and the applicants that are coming in are pretty positive.
Oh, wonderful.
I'll be
Thank
able
you.
to talk about that in the near future.
Wonderful. Any questions? Any further questions on the staffing report or comments? All right. So agenda item 6B, closed session. We're going to make a motion to move that to the next meeting. I can make that motion that we move updated 5B to our next Police and Fire Commission meeting for the closed session. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right.
Or do you mean, oh, sorry, Sheena, do you mean moving 6B to the next meeting?
So since we moved
For the police?
I wasn't sure. I mean, leave it at 6, don't change it. I didn't know if, because I moved it up to 5B, if that would have to. Okay, so 6B, yes, so I will take back the first motion. I'll make a new motion that we take agenda item 6B and move that to the next Police and Fire Commission meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye?
Aye.
All right, none opposed? So we'll discuss that at the next monthly meeting. And we can't do agenda item C. We will postpone that as well. So that puts us into report from the fire department.
All right.
Chief, did you have a question? Are you gonna?
Yes, the update. Do you want the update on the police facility, or do you want that?
Oh, yes. Is that, I didn't,
Oh,
oh, okay.
I didn't.
So
thought it
let's, okay, that is still included on that. So, all right, we are going to go back. Chief has another item to discuss shortly.
And that's my error. I thought that was a different agenda item. Just basically an update on the police facility. We, the city, have to present to the council what $35 million is going to get us for a police facility. I can tell you what we're doing right now. We're still waiting for Pepper's Construction to give us an idea of what that's going to look like financially, or at the marker. Paul Woodard is working with Peppers on that piece. When I say the team, us at Fitchburg PD went through an extensive exercise, making all cuts, and presenting that to the city administrator and Paul to share with Peppers Construction and FGM Architect. Taking everything out and reduce, and basically allowing Paul to reduce the square footage, is still indicating what does this police facility need. It needs a prisoner holding section. It needs an evidence processing and holding section. It needs a sally port, a garage, a command area, a patrol area, detective area, dispatch area. When those are the minimum, and I may be missing one, but when those are the minimum things to have in a police facility, you take everything out, that part is the crux of your expense. The other areas are just simply, or maybe categorized as just office space. So there's no direct correlation at reducing square footage that will correlate reducing the money equally. So right now at face, Pepper's Construction and FGM is struggling with producing something that's going to be under that $35 million. And that's one thing that they are going to have to present. That's their expertise. But currently, if you still have the core needs of what a police facility stands for, take away the training, take away a conference room that holds people, that's just open space, the number is still coming above 35. And they will present that. Our next meeting is on April 4th. We'll see what that does so we can present to the council. And the last piece I can bring up on that is that, I'm trying to figure out how to say this as best as possible. But I'll leave it at that piece for now. We'll see what the meeting produces before we do that. The last thing I want to say is we have a consultant that came in 2014, and they gave us a projection of what it would entail. And if you look at that study says 2035 at the 20-year marker. We're coming up to 2024. If groundbreaking would occur in September, in theory, the building would be move-inable spring of 2026. I was told there is an added $1 million because I don't think we're going to make that date. So by extending it into the next year, that would add another $1 million in cost. And bringing it to that next date, now you're talking 2027 for a building that will expire in 2035 or sooner. So that's where we're at. We'll see what they can come up with, but that's where we're at right now.
Well, thank you for that. I have some discussion on that. Tom, do you have anything?
No, go ahead. I can follow up.
We've talked heavily about the police facilities and our involvement as a police and fire commission and how we look at it as a retention and recruitment very, very large point. In order to retain people, in order to bring people here, in order to keep people here, our staff, we have to have a facility that our employees feel safe at, that they feel encouraged at. The Sally Port is something. If you look in the news, there was an incident in Milwaukee for a detainee that was in custody, and I think there's some security issues that may have contributed to that. And I don't want to see anything bad or unsafe happen to our staff. Also, the retainage of employees and keeping people inclusive, and we talk about the women and the increased number of women and having those facilities for lactation purposes or having places for women to go, having a locker room independent of the community locker room is very important. And those are things that we see in this proposed police station that would help with retainage and help with people wanting to come to Fitchburg. And so I think us as a commission, this is why we continue the discussion, just so people know. I had somebody ask me, why are we talking so much about the police station? And it's because it's a significant key factor to employee retainage, and that is one of our goals as the commission. So thank you. Please continue to let us know if there's anything we can do. As far as citizens and other board members, just continue to reach out and share anything and everything you can, positive and negative, as to why we don't need this. Because any input, I think, is good input right now.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
And Chief, how have the staff been? How did they take the news that what happened at that city council meeting? I think some of them were probably shouted down by people that live outside our city, but how are staff doing with this?
Our staff struggle. I can tell you the feelings were pretty down that entire week after that February 13th meeting. It didn't help. You have to be thick-skinned, and I get it. As a chief, we've seen those, and I've seen them and been through that and done that. But we have a young staff, and that young staff has not been exposed to that type of negative comment. And I'll frankly share, when you get a feeling from the leadership that shows, whether you mean it or not, that there's lacking support, that filters down. We had almost our entire staff here for the potential of things going wrong. So they got to see that firsthand. They didn't see it through a TV screen. They were here. They observed it, and it doesn't feel good to hear comments that Fitchburg police officers are raping people, that we're beating people. There's no data and there's nothing factual about that, but nobody shut that down. And at the end of the day, we are all human beings, but nobody shut that down. And that's pretty distasteful to do that to a group of people that you want to stay in this profession. There's nothing that's going to take police away from this city or this nation. and to just keep beating people down that want to really do something for their community. That showed a lack of support. And I'll say one thing, there's other counties where those officers that they have there and deputies make far less than they do in Dane County. But the staffing levels are high because their community and their elected officials support them. So sometimes it's not just about the money.
I was at, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, there was a crash at the corner of McKee Road and Seminole Highway. And there were at least 3 police cruisers there, and I thought, my goodness, this probably is the entire staff that we have right now on patrol in the city that had to come to this car crash. And thankfully, EMS and fire were there as well assisting. But I saw one of our officers on my way out and kind of around and asked how they were doing, and they just looked dejected. And I understand that because of the lack of support from our leaders in our city, or some of our leaders in our city. And it affects the people that are working for us. It affects the police service. I suspect it affects the fire service as well. And that's why we as a police and fire commission are involved, because we have a responsibility to recruit and to retain individuals on our police staff, and it's affecting the retention and recruitment of people in our city. So for anyone who questions it, that's why we as a police and fire commission ask these questions.
Thank you. Any other discussion or comments?
No.
Chief, are you going to sneak out? All
Yes.
right. Well, thank you. We'll let you sneak out.
Thank you.
No, thank you
for
very
your
much.
time.
All right, then our next agenda item will be the report from the fire department. We have interim chief Grossen.
Yeah, thank you.
His first commission meeting. Welcome.
That's right.
Yes.
It's been a couple years since I've been to the commission to report, and I'm happy to be here, so thank you. As far as our numbers, at the end of February here, not much of a change in our POX staff. We do have one change in our career staff as far as Chief Povemacher did leave the fire department and went to Menominee Falls to become their fire chief. So we're currently have a fire chief vacancy, and we also had one intern leave last month. So we're currently down one intern, but we did our intern recruitment, and I want to thank the PFC commissioners that were able to come in on a special meeting to allow us to get approval on 3 interns, which all 3 of them have approved, and their name's Clara Dable. She's from Madison, Brock Bussager from Oregon, and Joseph Fogeltantz from McFarland. So they're very excited about starting. They're currently still in high school, so graduation first, and then celebration, and then in the middle of June, we'll bring them on. So then we'll be back up to our full strength with the intern staff.
Chief, where did the intern go, the one that resigned?
He chose to pursue other avenues. He's still taking fire service classes, but just thought at this time it'd be best that he just move along, from the internship.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So with the 20 that we have currently not filled for the firefighters on the POX staff or the part-time staff in our chart, we are currently doing ride-alongs with 7 candidates. During those ride-alongs, they also have a interview with myself, so essentially a chief's interview. So we're currently going through that. And then we have brought on 2 support staff members. Now, support staff members aren't sworn individuals. They help us out with other activities. They're not doing any fire suppression activities whatsoever. But we like to share this information with the commission that we've brought on 2 support staff, and we've been discussing this over the past week that it's been a while since we brought on support staff members. just because we've had a good group, a couple have left because life changes. But the two that we have brought on, Brian Hageman and Bruce Droster, are actually past POX firefighters on the department. They've had time, freed up in their lives, and they miss the fire department here. So they asked if they could be brought back on as support staff, and we've graciously brought them back on. So otherwise, any questions on the staffing report?
Chief, will you just talk about the support staff and just a couple of their tasks that
Yep.
they help with and
Yep.
how they support you?
Yep, so a lot of it comes to accountability. So once we arrive on scene, our primary companies, initial companies that arrive on scene, go right to work with various operational tasks. So once they get on scene, they're collecting accountability boards. They bring those to the incident commander, and then that goes on to an accountability board so we can keep track of where everybody's on the fire ground for safety reasons. They also help out with our drone program, which is a program between not just the fire department, but the police department, FACT TV, and other departments. So like Bruce, he has experience with drones, so we'll bring him on that. He also has experience with doing GIS. So we're hoping that with his experience, that's what he used to do for a full-time job, does work for land information and GIS. So we're excited to bring him back on. And then Brian actually will help out with our investigation group on the fire department. So they also get on scene and help out with taking notes, sit in with the incident commander and help take notes, answer questions for those that come up to the vehicle that have questions for the incident commander that might be on the radio talking with operational crews in the IDLH environment. So that's primarily what our support staff helps out with.
No, that's fantastic. That's good to hear. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Chief, I'm interested in your perspective on the calls for service increase. It appears to me it's 25+% up year over year. That's a trend we've continued to experience, but your staffing doesn't move at the same rate. So at what point does the flexing get to be not enough to cover the amount of calls you're seeing an increase?
Well, thank you for that question. You're right. Our call volume has been going up, just like every other department in the city, police department, EMS. Right now, what we're seeing with our full-time staff is right now we have a healthy full-time staff, where like last year, if you look at, well, this is one thing that I think I'm going to add on, for example, the firefighter overtime in 2023 for February was 576 hours. Well, we've cut that in half. Why? Because we have a healthy group right now. And in our POX staff also, it kind of ebbs and waves as far as their availability too. So with that, healthy full-time staff, nobody's on PTO right now or vacations, so that helps out. Nobody's hurt. And then a good participation with our POX staff right now is helping out. Now come summertime, when they start taking time off and that. But I know we've had a couple questions from citizens regarding our response times, and that our response times have increased since last year. Well, the reason for that is because we're running multiple calls more often. And where we have Firehouse 2 and Firehouse 3, our operational fire departments, or firehouses, I should say, there's one big landmass in the middle that we have to get around. That's called the DNR. So when one engine's already out on a call, and then we get a call to the opposite side of the city, it takes time to get around the DNR. You either have to go up the Post Road to Fish Hatchery or Lacey Road to Fish Hatchery. So with multiple calls, that's why our call volume's increasing, because it's just taking us a little bit longer to get there from the other firehouse. So I don't, But yeah, call volume's definitely increasing. We're just dealing with it the best we can. We do have a staffing study that went out with the rest of the city's plan, for the referendum, that we're hoping that we can be able to get 6 more full-time firefighters that will help out for that increase in call volume.
Chief, I heard you say you're looking to add the previous year of the firefighter overtime. Do you think including the average response time will be something that's pertinent to share with
Oh, yeah.
with us as
Yep.
well? Do we want, can we make just a request that maybe comes at the next meeting if you can gather
Yeah.
some of that info?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely add that on, so we can compare what like right now, I'm looking at the firefighter overtime. In January, this year, 214 hours. Last year, it was 427.
Yeah.
Last month, 287. Last year, it was 576. So we've essentially have cut that in half this year so far.
And that's definitely something to take note of and to kind of look at as a collective whole of what's happening.
Right. And then, as you can see, year to date, on mandates, we haven't had to call anybody in on mandated overtime.
And that helps with the morale.
Yes,
Nobody wants to
absolutely.
be forced to
Correct.
stay any longer.
Yeah, when there, we really make sure that we're looking at our schedule and how we can move people around into different positions and make it work that way.
I think the response times would be nice to know because as citizens,
Yep.
that's important.
Yep.
That cutting overtime in half is huge. Have you decided what you're going to do with all that extra money that you're saving this year? Just curiosity.
Well, that's in the hands and talking with our finance directors, so.
Oh, you don't get to keep that?
No.
I got you.
No. No. But like that could change. Like last summer, for example, we had 4 of the 5 individuals that got hurt or went out sick. And then we really, really had a large amount of overtime. A lot of people were working a huge amount of hours, and you could definitely tell they were starting to get burnt out. So hopefully, that doesn't happen again, but it's on any given day, that can definitely change.
And I think it's trends. I mean, we can't compare,
Yep.
month to month. It's a hard, we don't know what was going on around this
Correct.
time last month, if there's any major scenes or major incidents or events.
Right.
But it is good as far as tracking over multiple years. So I think that's fantastic. And that does speak to the health, which is awesome too. So
Yep.
thank you.
So, I just to add on to the response times, how do we combat that? We start looking at that staff that can then fill another apparatus that is in-house. So currently we cross staff at both Firehouse 2 and Firehouse 3, meaning that they typically are staffed in an engine or a pumper. And then at Firehouse 2, we have our heavy squad, and at Firehouse 3, we have our aerial ladder, 100-foot aerial ladder. There, at least our aerial ladder, we can staff that with a crew of 4, and then that would be an additional response unit for these still alarms, these fire alarms, EMS calls, and such. So, but that's for future planning and staffing. Any questions on overtime?
No?
All right. Otherwise, our call volumes, like you said, are definitely increasing. We're down a little this month compared to last month. And our common call types are pretty much exactly the same month after month here. But like I said, we're definitely seeing that increase in call volume also. And like I said, help the work with the staffing plan and the referendum hopefully will help out with additional staffing.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? No? All right. We have agenda item 5B, the request to start a career firefighter recruitment. That's something we can vote on that. Yeah.
You can vote.
We have a quorum, so we can vote on that. So do you want to discuss that a little more?
Yep, so currently we have a position that has been approved for this year, and we would like to start that recruitment cycle. And I know Sarah can explain a little bit more that there would be a process and a timeline to follow, but we can definitely get it going, and if need, at least have that list and be prepared to hire somebody in the future here.
Seems like we only recruit for career firefighters maybe every 1 to 2 years, so it's always exciting when we can finally get a career firefighter out there. And so our last eligibility list expired on February 15th of this year, so we're well due to repost and put that out there. So with your approval, we'd like to get it posted yet this week, and then we can have it up for a good month at least and do some good outreach and advertising. And then our goal is to establish an eligibility list for the full year. So even into early next year, just in case we get this referendum passed and we do get career firefighters added, we can then go off of the eligibility list.
That sounds good. So we don't currently have an opening, but we're just looking to establish an eligibility list.
A career firefighter was added to the budget for this year, but we are potentially looking at filling it as a battalion chief.
Okay.
Because we have that need at that level, and then that would cause a domino effect of people promoting, which would ultimately lead to a career firefighter opening. So
Okay.
that's kind of the plan for right now.
That sounds good. Any discussion? Any questions?
I'll make the motion that we initiate the, what do you call it? Career firefighter recruitment process.
I will second that. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No? Motion passes. Wonderful. Good luck. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So thank you. Any other questions or discussions? If not, we're going to go to any announcements. Agenda item 7, any announcements? No announcements? I think I'll just piggyback on the police chief that April 4th is the next city council meeting. Is it a city council meeting or is it?
I don't think April 4th is the day.
He had mentioned April 4th
He
on a
did,
date.
but we don't have any. I think that might be when the facility meets again. Council always meets on the Tuesday, 2 Tuesdays a month, and then we have committee of the whole on Wednesday.
Is that?
The 9th? Okay, thank you. So April 9th,
Is the council?
Is the council meeting.
But April 4th, that's the facilities meeting. Is that open to the public?
I think those are filmed by Fact TV, correct? Yes.
I think April's going to be a busy month. There's a
Yeah.
lot of changes, a lot of movement. And
Right.
so,
And I'll be in touch too about maybe potentially meeting sooner than our April meeting, just because we have the police officer, we have a handful of people we want to offer to, and one of them's a lateral. So I'll reach out to Fact TV first, find out when they're available, and then I'll reach out to the commissioners and see if we can find a date. And if we can't, that's okay. We can wait until mid-April, but
that sounds good. Thank you. So April's a busy month for City of Fitchburg. So
Yep.
stay tuned and keep your eyes open. But if any other announcements? No?
I'll move adjournment.
All right. I will second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Adjourned. Good evening, everybody. Bye-bye.